Hello, wonderful person. Today, I will cover a sci-fi action thriller titled 65. Let's see what happens when a pilot becomes trapped on Earth 65 million years ago. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy. The movie begins on planet Someris, where pilot Mills has to embark on a 2-year space expedition to secure funds for his daughter, Nevian's necessary medical treatment, which would otherwise be unaffordable for him and his wife, Alia. Although reluctant to leave his beloved family, Mills sets off on his mission with a heavy heart. As the skilled pilot of the renowned vessel Zoic, pilot Mills encounters a tumultuous space storm, bombarded by a barrage of meteoroids that severely damage the ship, compelling an emergency landing in an unfamiliar location. Sadly, the ship's deteriorating condition leads to a catastrophic crash, rending it into 2 distinct pieces. The force of the impact renders Mills unconscious, but he eventually returns to his senses only to discover the havoc around. Yet, he finds himself disoriented and unable to recognize the peculiar surroundings, struggling to identify the mysterious planet upon which he has unwittingly descended, a planet that, unbeknownst to him, is none other than planet Earth. Unaware of the current situation, Mills musters the strength to administer first aid to himself, tending to the injuries sustained during the crash landing. Donning his trusty spacesuit, he ventures outside to inspect the passengers and survey the unfamiliar planet. However, to his dismay, the passenger data reveals that they have tragically perished in the incident. As Mills sets foot on this unknown planet, he is met with the harrowing sight of the lifeless bodies of all passengers strewn around, eliciting mournful lamentations deep within him. Summoning his resolve, Mills hastily returns to the ship, accessing the emergency landing database and dispatching distress signals back to Someris in a desperate plea for help. Upon discovering that Earth boasts a breathable atmosphere, he diligently sends messages while sitting somberly, carrying the weight of Naveen's transmitted pleas for his quick return. In a twist of fate, Mills stumbles upon information indicating the survival of a fellow passenger's vessel nearby. Determined to rescue her, Mills braves the unknown territory, stepping outside the confines of the ship and venturing towards the indicated location. With a mixture of relief and trepidation, he successfully locates the cryostasis vessel containing the surviving passenger, swiftly returning her to the ship for medical treatment. En route, an astonishing sight stops him in his tracks, an enormous footprint belonging to a mysterious creature, sending shockwaves of astonishment through his being. Returning to the ship, Mills carefully places the girl on oxygen, allowing himself to rest for a while. Upon awakening, he immediately embarks on a quest to locate the escape vessel, determined to find a way off the planet. But despite his efforts, the vessel remains elusive. Leaving the girl safely aboard the ship, Mills ventures out, hoping to uncover any trace of the escape craft. However, instead of finding the vessel, he stumbles upon a colossal creature's skeletal remains, a sight that sends shivers down his spine. To his astonishment, he also encounters a towering geyser, a natural wonder that leaves Mills awestruck. Undeterred, Mills retrieves his search device, once again employing it to aid in his search, and this time, luck shines upon him, leading him to discover the other section of the ship where the escape vessel is housed. It had broken off during the crash landing and fallen further up the mountain. A daunting task lies ahead as Mills realizes he must traverse a grueling 15 kilometers to reach the vessel. As he calculates the distance, he becomes acutely aware of the presence of unfamiliar creatures, dinosaurs, grazing in the vicinity. Suddenly, without warning, a baby dinosaur emerges from the shadows, launching an attack on Mills. Reacting swiftly, he skillfully evades the creature's assault and delivers a decisive blow, subduing it with a well-placed strike from his weapon. Continuing his journey, rustling noises emanate from the nearby bushes, compelling Mills to investigate. To his surprise and relief, he discovers the rescued girl hidden amongst the foliage. Despite his intentions, fear overcomes the girl, causing her to attempt a hasty escape, with Mills giving chase. In an unfortunate turn of events, their pursuit leads to a tumble down the mountainside, landing them in a crevice where they stumble upon the remains of a colossal dinosaur's carcass. Overwhelmed by fear, they sense the presence of other similar creatures drawing near, prompting Mills to swiftly scoop up the girl and hastily retreat back to the safety of the ship. Upon returning to Zoic, Mills immediately delves into the passenger records and discovers the girl's name as Koa, who had been traveling with her parents to Samaris. Concerned about her, Mills attempts to communicate with Koa, only to realize that she speaks a different language, posing a challenge for effective communication between them. In order to convey to Koa their need to journey to the mountain and retrieve the escaped vessel, Mills ingeniously employs red powder to create an image, allowing her to comprehend the situation. However, when Koa persistently inquires about her parents, Mills, out of concern, fabricates a story, assuring her that her parents are on the mountain with the escape vessel. This misinformation instills courage in Koa, motivating her to accompany Mills on their expedition. As Mills transmits a signal back home, Koa takes the opportunity to explore Naveen's video messages sent to Mills during his 2-year expedition. These messages make her learn of Naveen's illness and her longing for her father's safe return as she grapples with her sickness in his absence. However, before delving further into the videos, Mills abruptly interrupts, overwhelmed by the memories they evoke reminiscent of his own daughter. To prepare for their journey to the mountain's summit, Mills gathers all the necessary supplies, including small bombs, anticipating potential encounters with unfamiliar creatures along the way. Instructing Koa to follow closely, Mills departs from the ship, gripping his gun tightly, ready to confront any strange creatures that may pose a threat during their perilous expedition. During their journey, Koa's ears catch the distressed sounds of a dinosaur trapped in sticky mud. Driven by compassion, she disregards Mills's initial reluctance and rushes to aid the creature in freeing it. Despite their combined efforts, the moment the dinosaur is freed from its predicament, it becomes a target for other voracious creatures of the same species that seemingly materialize out of nowhere. The gruesome slaughter of the helpless creature shocks Koa, prompting her to unleash a scream that captures the attention of the man-eating creatures lurking nearby. In a frantic bid for survival, Mills swiftly takes hold of Koa, seeking shelter and safety from the imminent danger that looms over them. After the unsettling incident, Mills sternly advises Koa to refrain from any further impulsive actions as they continue their arduous trek towards the escape vessel. Progressing onward, Mills ascends a tall tree to gauge the remaining distance to their destination. However, the sudden appearance of insects on his hand startles him, causing him to lose his footing and suffer a dislocated arm, engulfing him in excruciating pain. Struggling to reset his arm, Mills finds himself confronted by a group of menacing dinosaurs, leaving him with no choice but to urgently instruct Koa to flee for her life. As Koa seeks refuge behind a fallen log, Mills, armed with small bombs, creates a temporary diversion to buy himself precious moments to tend to his injury and arm himself for a counterattack against the formidable creatures. While concealed, Koa finds herself cornered by newly emerged dinosaurs, their predatory instincts closing in on her. Yet in a moment of sheer fortune, Mills arrives just in time, launching a fierce assault on the creatures, saving Koa from certain harm. Both take a moment to catch their breath, but their respite is short-lived as another creature attempts to drag Koa away. Swiftly reacting, Mills unleashes a terrifying volley of gunfire, forcing the creature to relinquish its grasp and flee in terror. Overwhelmed by the harrowing encounter, Koa requires some time to regain her composure, eventually summoning the courage to confront the circumstances and resolutely following Mills on their journey toward the mountain's summit. Together, they press forward, determined to overcome the challenges that lie ahead. As night descends, Mills strategically places danger detectors in a circular formation near a cave, providing a temporary shelter for the night. While inspecting his detection device, unsettling information is unveiled to Mills. The meteoroids that devastated Zoic are now hurtling toward their current location, posing a grave threat to the planet Earth. Before settling down, Mills activates a holographic image of Naveen, his beloved daughter, inundating his emotions with sorrow as he recalls her grave illness. During the night's slumber, Mills is jolted awake by the alarms from the detectors, alerting him to an imminent danger. Hastily, he springs into action, investigating the source of the disturbance. Meanwhile, unnoticed by them, a small insect manages to enter Koa's mouth, slowly jeopardizing her life. The severity of Koa's condition catches Mills's attention, and with a sense of urgency, he swiftly identifies the bug lodged in her mouth, promptly eliminating it to save her from further harm. Before they have time to comprehend the situation, a colossal dinosaur materializes behind them, prompting Mills to unleash a barrage of shots, forcing the creature to retreat momentarily. Acting swiftly, Mills guides Koa into the nearby cave, seeking refuge and safety from the looming threat. Using the detecting device, Mills manages to locate a potential exit from the cave. However, his hopes are dashed as he discovers the path blocked by massive, immovable rocks, seemingly insurmountable. Faced with despair, Mills suddenly recalls the small bombs in his possession and devises a plan. Placing the explosives carefully within the stone wall, he creates a narrow passageway, offering a glimmer of hope for their escape. Recognizing the importance of preparedness, Mills entrusts some of the bombs to Koa, ensuring she has a means of defense in times of need. Venturing into the passage alongside Koa, their path takes an unexpected turn. A slight earthquake, caused by the movement of the dinosaurs, rattles the mountain, resulting in stones dislodging and separating Mills from Koa. Stranded within the confines of the cave, Mills faces the daunting task of finding an alternative exit and reuniting with Koa. Meanwhile, Koa, having successfully made her way out of the cave, commences her search for Mills. Within the depths of the cave, Mills is once again confronted by the dinosaur. Engaging in a fierce struggle, he valiantly fights back, ultimately delivering a decisive shot, eliminating the threat and freeing himself from the cave's confines to resume Koa's search. In the meantime, Koa stumbles upon a massive animal claw, recognizing its potential as a formidable weapon, and stores it safely in her bag, ready for any future encounters. Meanwhile, outside the cave, Mills receives alarming news about the impending arrival of meteoroids, threatening to devastate the planet within a few short hours. However, the urgency of their mission intensifies within him. While in search of Koa, Mills hears her piercing scream nearby. Driven by concern, he races towards the sound, only to find himself ensnared in treacherous quicksand. In the midst of this perilous situation, Koa manages to defend herself against the attacking dinosaur by activating the small bombs Mills had entrusted to her. With her quick thinking, she secures her safety. As Mills desperately struggles against the sinking sand, Koa arrives just in the nick of time, extending a sturdy tree branch to rescue him from the clutches of the quicksand. Overwhelmed by gratitude and the profound bond they have forged throughout their arduous journey, Mills embraces Koa warmly. With a renewed sense of urgency, Mills enlightens Koa about the critical need to find the escape vessel due to the imminent threat of the approaching meteoroids. Together they forge ahead, determined to reach the summit of the mountain. Finally, they arrive and discover the missing section of the ship, which houses the vessel they are seeking. Mills, utilizing the communication system, sends the signal, confirming the vessel's impending arrival. However, driven by her unwavering desire to locate her parents, Koa, unaware of Mills's previous deception regarding their presence on the mountaintop, rushes outside the ship. Her sole focus is on finding her family, disregarding the imminent escape that awaits them. As Koa's desperate search for her parents proves fruitless, she mourns their absence. However, sensing her anguish, Mills finally summons the courage to reveal the painful truth about her parents' demise caused by the crash landing. The devastating news plunges Koa into a deeper sorrow, and she mourns their loss. In a moment of vulnerability, Mills opens his heart, sharing the tragic story of his own daughter's passing. She succumbed to illness during his prolonged absence, a sorrow he carries with him. Moved by his heartfelt confession, Koa's sympathy extends towards Mills, recognizing the shared pain of losing a loved one. United by their grief and longing for connection, Koa makes the decision to depart the planet alongside Mills in the escape vessel. Together, they prepare themselves for the journey ahead, seeking solace amidst the vastness of space. As the meteoroids rain down upon the Earth's surface, a grim reminder of the colossal stone that initially struck their ship, panic sets in. In their haste to escape the impending danger, Mills and Koa board the approaching escape vessel. However, their desperate attempt is met with misfortune as falling meteoroids collide with the ship, causing it to plummet from the mountain and shatter upon impact, while the violent event leaves Mills unconscious. When Mills comes to his senses, he is confronted by a horrifying sight: the gigantic dinosaurs viciously attacking the wreckage of the vessel. Determined to survive, Mills swiftly unbuckles his seatbelt, preparing to engage the dinosaurs with his trusty gun. However, to his dismay, the weapon requires precious seconds to activate, but with little time to spare, Mills instinctively seeks cover, hoping to buy himself some time. In the midst of his struggle, as despair threatens to consume him, Koa seizes a brilliant opportunity to activate the holographic image of Naveen, projecting it into the surroundings to distract and lure the dinosaurs away. The appearance of Mills's beloved daughter in the hologram overwhelms him with emotions, but he channels his newfound strength to once again engage the dinosaurs, this time armed with a recharged gun and unwavering determination. In a display of skill and resilience, Mills successfully fends off the advancing dinosaurs, forcing them to retreat. Drawn towards the holographic source, they turn their attention to Koa, unknowingly leaving the vessel momentarily unguarded. Just as the vessel activates itself, Koa urges Mills to swiftly board it, aware of the impending danger. However, their path is blocked once again by the partially injured dinosaur, cornering Mills and threatening their escape. With no time to spare, Mills cunningly lures the creature towards the ground geysers, hoping to utilize them as a trap. But as the dinosaur lunges towards him, on the brink of dealing a fatal blow, Koa unleashes a fierce attack using the giant claws she had saved earlier. Their combined efforts lead to the dinosaur's demise just as the geysers erupt with a powerful force and engulf it. With the threat of the dinosaurs now vanquished, Mills and Koa swiftly return to the vessel amidst the continuous barrage of falling meteoroids. As they board the vessel and leave behind the treacherous planet, a colossal meteoroid strikes Earth, causing a cataclysmic explosion that marks the end of the era of dinosaurs on the planet. Several years later, humans began to visit and explore Earth, gradually adapting to its unique environment. Over the following decades, humans establish a permanent presence on Earth, thriving and making it their home. And so, the accidental landing of a pilot from Samaris 65 million years ago became the catalyst that led to the emergence of humans inhabiting Earth. That is the end of the movie. I surely hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.